and like they were saying about the NyQuil chicken. Somebody in the comments said lean cuisine. I was like,
Yeah.
that
I see
No,
that.
I'm gonna tell you the one that took me out. I was online looking at looking at the whole Brett Favre stuff, and they was talking about, of course, Vic doing the shit he did with the dogs gets more airplay than Brett Favre. And somebody was like, "I ain't got no dog in this hunt," but I say that's fucked up. I said, "God damn." Oh man. But anyways, welcome back to another episode of They're Gonna Feel Me. I'm sorry, that didn't have enough energy. Welcome back to another episode of They Gon' Feel Me, where you get authentic conversation from authentic men. Y'all see our names. No, we not cheating on our women. We are not Ime Udoka or Ime Watson. You feel me? But this is episode 49, and we about to bring y'all that content, that energy, that pizzazz. But y'all know, as we always say, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share it so your mama can see it, your daddy can see it, your auntie can see it, Nia Long side chick can see it, Ime side chick can see it. And then we about to get into the show. Y'all boys ready?
let's get it.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Amen. Like I said, we got some hot topics for y'all today. Starting off with the well-known Ime Udoka. So if you haven't been under a rock, as I like to say, you would know that this week some stuff transpired with the Boston Celtics, man. Apparently, Ime Udoka got caught up in a scandal, messing off with other women within the organization. Wrong women names and got dragged, all type of stuff. So y'all tell me, guys, do y'all think that what happened was messed up? Do y'all think that the punishment came to him was fair or unfair as well?
I mean, ultimately, I just think they had to have a response because of how, you know, big the like a situation is already mushrooming into. Like, I mean, this it's kind of wild. Like, really cheating on probably one of the baddest motherfuckers on earth. But like, but from an organization, they have to have a response, given that it was somebody within the organization that supposedly transpired with.
Which is, I believe, in his contract there was a clause that stated he couldn't have any, sexual relationship. Don't quote me on that. I believe that's what I heard. He couldn't have any sexual relationship or anything like that with anyone within the organization. So that's the reason why they came to their, verdict so quickly with what was going on. But I mean, for everything to come out the way that it came out, I mean, what do y'all think about that? Like, as fast as it dropped and we heard about it, like literally within days of it happening, within days of it coming out, shall I say?
I mean, I don't, clauses like that really aren't that unusual, because in various organizations, corporate America, you always have, in human resources, no fraternization, rules or whatever that they forbid or is frowned upon you having relations with, your coworkers, especially if you have a supervisory or administrative role, because you have that power. You got that power dynamic. But this one is so layered, man. It's so many layers to it, and I guess we can peel back each layer at a time. I don't think. Well, I'm going to reserve my full thought on it until we know more about it. But as of what we know right now, I would say I don't agree with how Boston handled it, because I'm of the opinion that if it's as bad as certain reporters are making it seem, then just fire the man and be through with it. A year suspension. Just if he's breached a contract or conduct unbecoming or whatever, just fire him and get it over with and be done. And be done with it. Turn the page in that chapter and move on. That's how I feel about how Boston handled it.
Yeah, I honestly don't know how to feel about the situation. When it first came out, it was just kind of weird to see everything. Especially on Twitter, because that's where I first saw the news, and to just see all the details coming out, as the day went on, and just how people dragged the one lady through the mud, and it turned out that she wasn't even the person that he was cheating with. And then just, everybody is a think piece. They have an opinion on it, and he shouldn't have did this. He shouldn't have did that, and I kind of agree with Rob with how the Boston Celtics handled it. It's kind of messy at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Well, we know how it got leaked through her husband, apparently, through one of the side chick's husband, apparently overheard a conversation, and that's how everything got out. But it just seems kind of fishy to me. I don't know. But I mean, if it is some rape
Sexual
stuff going
assault.
on, or the sex was it
That's
sexual
hilarious.
assault, if it wasn't consensual, I'm not gonna say he raped the lady, but if it was sexual assault, then he should be fired. Like, he needs to be let go. But we need the details first. So I don't want to come on here and, be like he's guilty, or say he's not guilty, or say he shouldn't, be suspended, or, I don't even want to go that far until I know the full details about what's going on with the whole situation.
And I think a part of it that was kind of nasty for me, man, though, is like the 24-hour news cycle and the group think that goes along with it as well. Because, one thing that with the internet and dealing with Twitter is, Twitter has some of the most resourceful sleuths there are out there. If they want to find some information, they will move heaven and earth to find it. I mean, they had a picture of this woman and just dragging
multiple pictures,
just dragging before they knew any concrete thing. Now think about what you've done to her life.
Right.
No matter, just blew up her spot. No matter what she had going on, now people all over the country, all over the world, they looking at her like, oh, this the one that did it.
Well,
You know what I'm saying?
Society hates a home wrecker. Classically, nobody loves a home wrecker, especially, when they think that you are a consolation prize. You a step down from the actual wifey. It's no surprise, especially given that they said that she was helping her relocate to Boston. Like the woman in question. It's no real surprise that somebody would actually want to basically drag her name through the mud.
But
the travesty.
Again, that's just kind of, it's kind of sad that people jump to conclusions, and they've drugged this lady's name through the mud. She's married on top of all this, and now her husband probably looking at her crazy, because at first he probably didn't know either. You know what I'm saying? He like, damn, my wife. If you her husband and you find out your wife cheating through the internet. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have no clue.
But he found out she was cheating because he overheard some conversation over a Ring camera.
No. This isn't the same lady. This is not the same lady that we're talking about. So imagine if you're the feaster, this feaster lady. I don't know her first name. I don't want to butcher it. But imagine if he has no clue that his wife is quote unquote cheating, and he finds out and he gets berate. And now he done went and tried to kill his wife because he done seen this shit on the internet. Like, y'all don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, people don't think about the consequences of leaking stuff like this and putting it on the internet, because everybody has the internet in the palm of their hands now. And we've seen it. We know people are crazy. They get triggered, and that could lead to something that, thankfully it didn't, but it can lead to something that is just travesty at the end of the day. So,
and the other part about it too, though, man, is though, think about something like that when it happens and when it comes out that indeed she was not the person that was involved in it. Guess what? Once your name is out there, it ain't no. Now it's Twitter. It's Twitter coming back and say, "Hey, we sorry, our bad.
We sorry.
No,
No.
Ain't nobody saying that. Once your name out there, is out there. So they didn't destroy her character. You know, just basically assassinated her. You know, her moral character. You know, but then there's another aspect to this story too that I've been seeing a lot, and that's the regards of Nia Long. And you see a lot of people like, oh man, he got to be foolish. And I even made my name on Ime Udoka. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of like, man, how in the world could he cheat on? How could he cheat on Nia Long? How? How? I mean, and this is something that
it's so many layers to this though. From men to women for both men and women. I feel like this is how a lot of men get cheated on too, you know, because they put beauty on this pedestal, and they think that they tie beauty to loyalty too, you know, in a way. They think that she's so beautiful that she just can't cheat on me. She can't be, you know, not loyal to me. And your dumb ass the whole time you getting cheated on, and you know what I'm saying, because you think that she's this beautiful, angelic person, you know what I'm saying? And at the same time, women got to understand that men, yes, we are visual creatures, but at the same time, we are a lot of men. I'm not saying me, I'm not saying the men on this panel, but I'm saying a lot of men are hypersexual creatures.
You definitely talking about me.
If you throw it,
you might want to listen to the rest of what he's saying though before you say it's me.
If you throw it at some men, they gonna catch it. I'm just I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you like it is.
Let me tell you something, baby. You throw it at me, I'm gonna sweep it under the rug.
they gonna catch it. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes it's a lot of things that go on in a relationship. We don't know that's another thing. We don't know what's going on in that relationship, man. Them folks been engaged for 7 years, bro. Like, and we don't know them from a hole in the wall. We have no clue as to the dynamics of their relationship and what they're going through, and you know how their relationship is structured. Even we don't know. All we can do is assume. I feel like a lot of people they think of Nia Long by the characters that she's portrayed. That's another thing. And she seemed like, all in all, like looking at her Instagram and things like that, she seemed like a very sweet, lovable person. But at the same time, you don't know her personally.
Listen, man.
So I'm not going to justify him cheating on her, but I'm just saying you don't know their relationship at the end of the day.
The whole how can he cheat on Nia Long thing. I'm gonna give you a quote that came from a pimp. All right, came from a pimp, and the pimp quoted, "Don't go with the chick that looks good. Go with the chick that's gonna hold you down." So if you got two chicks in the room, the ugly chick that's giving you the attention, right? You know for a fact that she gonna do whatever that's gonna have your back and hold you down. Whenever you get with the fine chick, you gonna come out of your character and you're gonna accept things that you typically would not accept. I think it's safe to say that we have all done it, right? You see a woman, I mean, look at how we feel about certain women, our crushes, right? With Reese and fucking Kelly Rowland. I'm pretty sure if Kelly Rowland came strolling in and was like, "Hey Reese, I want to talk to you. I want to date you." This nigga gonna go above and high water to do whatever it is, even if it's above his moral compass, right? We're going to be like, "Hey, my nigga, she playing you." He ain't going to see that because he's going to see, "Hey, look, this Kelly Rowland, my boy. What is you talking about?" Right? Until he finally realizes, like, this is not what I want to be in. And that happens more often than not. We put, like you said, we put beauty on this pedestal and we feel like, man, look, I got a dime piece that I could bring around as opposed to this booger wolf that's ugly, but she fucking taking care of me to the fucking, I mean, I'm just not to say she ugly, but you know how most people, like you ever just been scrolling, right? And you like, damn, my nigga, he could do so much better than who he got, right? Like,
but
damn, you was the man at high school, what happened to you? But then, like, you never know exactly what's going on in that household. That could be just what that one man needs or that one woman needs to take care of them emotionally, physically, all types of things, right? You never know exactly what's going on.
But that's the thing.
I really do feel like we put beauty above everything.
But that's the thing. Like that's the rhetoric that comes in situations like this when it comes to cheating. People will be like, "Oh, they, you know, took like a lesser, they found somebody lesser than me, so now I'm laughing," and it's kind of like anybody can be cheated on. I mean, and
yes, sir.
and not,
Yes,
I mean
sir.
anybody can be cheated on. Beyonce got cheated.
Anybody.
Beyonce,
Like,
exactly, bro.
when it's all said and done, like I mean, we talked about how we be laughing at, or like how we judge, like when people have like these opinions about like the person that you move on with after being cheated on. The reality of the matter is some people, they cheat because like they are trying to find something in someone else that they ain't necessarily finding with you. Or you have this inflated ego that feels as if like, oh, somehow I'm here and there is no better than me. So for them to move on, like, how can I ever be replaced? You can be replaced easily. Who says that you don't? Have you had the opportunity to kind of take a look at yourself and see your deficiencies, be honest with yourself about those deficiencies, and then address those deficiencies? Because like your significant other did, they moved the fuck on.
I think a lot of times women need to understand that. I think a lot of men will take a woman that's less beautiful that is more compatible with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't see that with a lot of I don't feel, I mean, there are some women out there that do take men that don't look as good, but I feel like men are a little bit more willing sometimes to be with a woman that isn't, she may not necessarily be as beautiful, but she does all those other things that he really loves. And that's, you can see there's plenty of cases like women will point out like men that have wives that are celebrities, and they're like, oh, why is he with her? She's so ugly, but or she ain't Beyonce level, but she does everything else that he loves, And I feel like we got to stop always tying. That's why I say like beauty is a great thing, but it's not
some
everything.
People,
and looks
some
gonna fade.
Some people are just
anyway.
immature. Some people like they got into a relationship that they shouldn't have been in. And
superficial.
And they just haven't gotten a lot of shit out of their system. They haven't worked on themselves as people, and that's the reason why they cheat. I mean,
and
a lot of guys just they just play. I mean, they players.
Okay.
They
now let me go a different route, because last week Queen Elizabeth died. And for a lot of people in America, they were so enthralled and like riveted and watching all this or whatever. But the thing about it is, America doesn't have royalty. But for many Americans, they treat celebrities like royalty, because they look at them and try to live their life through, through them. And you end up getting a situation like y'all were talking about, various different celebrities getting cheated on here. I mean, if we really want to be real, look at Will Smith.
Did he get cheated on though? But hold on, did he get cheated on, or were they in a breaking their relationship?
By love, nope.
Oh no.
Come on. I mean,
I had a whole argument about poly.
Like, I don't know if I would necessarily say that Will Smith got cheated on though.
Okay.
I think
rules.
according to them, their relationship was on the rocks, and then they were thinking about moving along.
They were still married.
But
they were
plenty of people they separate, and like they still married and still move around.
Technically, it's
so
still cheating.
So if you and your wife are, on paper, y'all still married, right?
A lot of people be married on paper and still fucking around. No, I messed around with a married woman a long time ago before my wife.
But my point is, technically, by law, you're still married, so it's still cheating.
Yeah, and if one person in the relationship ain't condoning or can agree in agreement with it, it's definitely cheating.
But there are those times.
But this is
But
This is my
go ahead.
This is my point. No, this is my point though. You get a certain situation. Okay, we talked about Jada and talked about how toxic, how toxic she is. But by the same token, during that whole slap situation, we've come to find out more and more about Will. Certain shortcomings and certain things that he have. I'll give you another example. People look at Kim Kardashian all the time. The normal Joe Schmo, like, oh my gosh, she is so bad, she is so fine, blah 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 blah. But when you actually peel back the layers and you look at, hey, she's really controlled by her mom. She's really She's really attention seeking. And then you look at somebody like Kanye. I mean, it's well documented Kanye's issues, but from the person outside, that regular Joe on the outside looking at like, oh man, Kanye got all this money, he got all this fame, man, why in the world would she want to leave? Why in the world would she want to leave Kanye? But you got somebody that's acting. But you still have people that are so enthralled with fandom, with that celebrity status, that they look past all the red flags and be like, hey, I still want to talk to him because he got money, he got fame, he's a musician. Same way, with Kim Kardashian, she's beautiful. Hey, she's voluptuous. So blah blah blah. People concentrate, or they get so enthralled with certain things until they don't understand the essence. You know what I'm saying, of that real person. Is that person making you better in a relationship? Then you get in a situation where y'all really just in a superficial relationship. Nobody is actually getting better by their relationship. So then you have situations like this. We don't know what happens.
I'll say this in closing too. A lot of times people get cheated on because it's just the danger of cheating. Some people just want some pizzazz, like they want some spice in their relationship, and it's like the danger element of, or the risque nature of, like, oh, I'm doing this, I know it's wrong, but it feels right. Those types of situations, I think that also gets people cheated on. Ultimately, the machinations as to why a person goes out and steps out in their relationship goes a lot deeper than the superficial, as we've said. And when it's all said and done, you just really gotta kind of got to know the person that you with, well in advance, and be ready for what inevitably could potentially happen, and deal with it. If anything, I'm just sad that, for Nia Long, that she, necessarily has to get her name drug out into some sort of scandal that really ain't got nothing to do with her, rather than the fidelity of her significant other. So.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of guys that are willing to help her, mend her broken heart.
They already came coming out the woodwork. Yeah. So
you can see Shannon Sharp post a picture with us. So
yeah, and,
get in there, Uncle,
last thing I would say is just women, please understand that men don't necessarily cheat because of looks. Yes, there are men out there that do value beauty, but a lot of times it's not that deep for men. Again, a lot of men are just hypersexual creatures, and they want sex.
And I say this the last point I'll make, because you said that, and I don't think a lot of times men think of the long term implications behind what they do. Because you thinking, because you thinking, you don't think about the long term. Like, hey, I got a kid. What are we gonna do with this? Or whatever. We don't think down. You know what I'm saying? Long term. You just think, hey, this chick fine. I'm about to hit, and it's gonna be over with. But on thin line between love and hate. What she said, a lifetime worth of trouble ain't worth a couple minutes of pleasure.
It's a pleasure. Man.
Comes down to that. It comes down to communication as well. I think that's one of the biggest key pieces. You got to talk to your significant other to make sure that person that you're with is the person that you want to be with, because that again right there tends to lead to a lot of the disconnect that we have in this cheating culture. But another, touching on another topic within this before we move on, to something else. I want to know what y'all think about, a lot of women immediately thinking that the world is trying to blame the women involved and trying to make it seem like it's the women's fault, when the majority of people who said something said that, hey, this brother he deserves whatever he has coming towards him because he was wrong for it. But, you know, what I'm quoting at is what I'm speaking on, shall I say, is, I don't know if y'all watched the 4-Letter Network, but Malika Andrews, she got on there and she was just really, you know, talking crazy, talking out the side of her neck towards Stephen A. and towards Kendrick Perkins. And neither one of them were in defense of Udoka. They both said the exact same thing. Hey, man, if all of this stuff is true, he deserves to be fired. But we need the facts before you just go off and suspend someone. And she immediately heard that and was like, y'all trying to make it seem like it's the women's fault and it's not the men's fault. So what do y'all think about, you know, women jumping in and making it seem like men, again, are attacking women when that's not really the case?
Well, we do, but society does have a tendency of making this about the victim or whatever you want to say. Like, I mean, some people going to say, like, oh, you know, what did she do to, like, influence that man to go out and cheat? Even with the other girl, like, I mean, like I said earlier, like, some people hate homewreckers, and now you got that title, you know, of homewrecker, and it may be that she was completely consensual, or like it was a bunch of advances that were made that she didn't want, which I don't believe already, but like still, like, I mean, like she's not speaking from a place that is alien, but she may be speaking out of turn because this ain't necessarily that with those two particular men.
See, this is the danger though of the 24-hour or the 24/7 news cycle, because a lot of times when a story breaks, like you're on the air or you're going to be on the air and you don't have all the details. So you have to call people and get bits and pieces of information, and therefore you're going to form sometimes flawed premise, you know, a flawed opinion, because you don't have all the answers. And what we get in trouble with is when we already make up in our head what this is about. We already jump to conclusions, and it looks bad on her, you know, when you're jumping out, because if you listen to what they were saying, you know, you'll understand, hey, this is the point that they were trying to make. But so many times when we get on these shows and we're discussing certain things, we get so consumed with just trying to make sure we get heard. We get so consumed with trying to make sure that we are right, that we don't listen and actually internalize and hear what other people are saying. We just listen for almost like you playing jump rope or double dutch. Just wait for my turn. I'm finna wait for my turn. I'm finna jump in, and you ain't heard nothing.
Listen to rebut.
You ain't heard nothing that person said. I'm just waiting for my turn. All right, you through talking? You through? All right, let me go. You know, yeah. I mean, no, and
that's the engine.
I think that's what happened.
Sorry, go ahead.
Boy was revving up a Hemi over there this time, wasn't he?
But yeah, a lot of people, to Ross' point, a lot of people do, like, you know, they hear just a snippet of what happens, and then like they respond before they like have a chance to sit back, digest what they actually heard, and then have a response. Or how about this? Mind your fucking business and not have an opinion at all. You know, because like at the end of the day, this ain't got nothing to do with any of us. It may got something to do with like a Celtic fan who really wants to like their coach to be there next year. But like, I mean, it ain't got shit to do with you unless your name is Udoka or fucking Nia Long.
But you can't do that if you're on NBA Today or whatever on ESPN, and you got to fill time. So hey, this is a story that you got to talk about. Now,
talk about Brett. You could talk about Brett Favre.
Man, what? You can spend more time talking about Brett Favre than that. But
this NBA.
I think one thing that has to, one thing that should be brought up about it is just that, we're
it's
when it comes,
it's not
I-
it's
I'm
not
trying
a
to-
men
I'm-
versus women situation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to make it seem like. It's not a men versus women situation. And I think that we've seen so many of these scandals when you talk about something like Bill Clinton and all these other scandals that have come up in the history, right? It's always deemed to be the woman's fault. And everybody is saying like, look, we need to get the facts before we push forward. And women are so quick to go on the defensive. Like everybody is not ready to say that it's your fault. I believe it's safe to say that when that news broke, every man around the world was like, how in the hell could you cheat on Nia Long? Right? So we're not immediately saying that, hey, it's this other woman's fault. So like, why are you combating, especially with your co-host? And it's not just you're combating and disagreeing, you're combating in a disrespectful way, telling people to be quiet, telling people to stop, all of this, that, and the third, stop talking. Like that's where it gets out of place. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I understand you want to take your fellow counterparts, or you want to take your fellow genders back, you want to have their back, because black women are definitely railroaded. Women in general are railroaded, but definitely black women are railroaded when it comes to everything that goes along in this world. But at the same exact time, we can't just sit here and say that you're the victim, because we can't make it seem like women don't play a part in a man cheating. I worked in a call center, motherfucker, and I done seen women entice the hell out of married men solely because that cat was jumping and them niggas was coming in thumping and they was ready to get knocked off. You feel me?
How many people got like work wives and work cooks?
Bro, work wife. You trying to find your work wife and all of that shit. Like you can't just sit here and immediately say that. They're automatically the victim, bro. I mean, it's the truth. I kid you not.
I mean, I think in situations when it comes to cheating, is there really a victim? Unless it was
rape. Unless it was rape, there's no victim, bro. At the end of
the victim is like your significant other.
The victim would be the significant other.
Yeah.
I'm talking about if we're talking about the two people that actually engaged in the act of cheating, or having sex. Is it really a victim? When
I
it
think
comes
the
to
woman.
those
Well, go ahead, Rob.
No, I was gonna say if it was like we were talking about before, if it was like a supervisory role though, if he had power, if he had a certain title and he's a head coach, and she was like a subordinate or something like that, if he used his clout to try to pressure her, like, hey, you're gonna lose your job, if you don't blah blah blah, then okay, he coerced her into doing it. But I'll say this one thing though, and I'll let y'all go. I'm not the biggest Stephen A. fan, but I will give him a shout out for how he handled that situation, because he checked her, but he did it in a respectful, in a way of love. He didn't do it in a nasty way. He did it like, hey, my black sister, hey, this my show. You getting a little out of pocket now. Cool your heels down now. You ain't finna come on my show and tell me to stop talking. Now, hold on. You're getting a little too big for your britches now. Calm down. I know you might be a little fired up about this situation, but I'm gonna need you to respect. And it's also a respect thing too, because Kendrick Perkins and Stephen A. Smith are much older than she is. So you two grown men on TV, and you coming on telling that man to be quiet and all this stuff on his own show. Come on now. Let's get some respect too now. So I salute Stephen A. for that.
Yeah. The only thing I was gonna say, I mean, in the reverse of that situation is, there are some women that will, try to come up off of a situation like that. If they're in a certain at a certain level in the job, they'll try to use sex to get up. I mean, it happens a lot. So I will say that too. So we don't know the situation, you know what I'm saying? But hopefully more details come out and people will stop jumping to conclusions, and this will come to a close, and just hopefully Nia Long can move on from this situation, because she's the one that's going to be affected the most.
I hope Udoka moves on from this situation. He learns from it. He understands what he should and should not do with his dick. And he should worry more about how his dick sometimes might affect his career.
Yep.
That's a good point though.
Not making excuses, but yeah. Yeah, a lot of men don't think with their.
But that's a great.
Their
I'm glad
actual brain.
I'm glad you said that because I was getting ready to say something about that. You got to think at the end of the day, Boston was just in the finals last year. Boston was just in the finals last year. They have a really good team, and this, I mean, even though Boston historically has been a racist, known as a racist city, why as a black man. I'm just saying, we don't get that many head coaching jobs to begin with. So now you had one of the best coaching jobs in the whole league, and now you throwing it away for what? I'm just saying.
But then again, one could also equally say that maybe, cheating is how they almost got to the finals, like so.
Nice. Boy, what you say that Thunch man who out there coach his ass off.
Ooh, I needed that. Ooh, all right, so who gonna shoot a free throw? God damn. God damn. Adjusting his pants and shit.
Boys out there drawing up plays like he ain't never drew plays before, goddamn it.
We're gonna do this vaginal. Yeah, we're gonna do this vaginal,
Well, he must not have got none in the finals then, goddamn it.
Couldn't have. Oh, he had that damn finals hangover and gave up that damn limp dick. That could have been the situation as well. That meat wasn't so good after that loss, but hey.
That meat wasn't meaty.
Is what it is, brother. But staying in the topics of women, unfortunately, we got to talk about Meg The Stallion again. So, of course, Dababy put out the same album that he always puts out every year. He puts out an album. It was trash, by the way. It was not good. And a line on, I think it was called Boogeyman or whatever, he talked about how he slept with Meg The Stallion. So she caught an, I guess we can say, random stray to the foot again, huh? So y'all tell me what y'all think about what transpired and what y'all heard from the baby.
City boys, y'all losing, my nigga. Like, this is such a talk about fucking limp dick. Like, this is such a limp dick ass thing. The fuck it happened. Like, bro, like, this is some high school shit. You bragging about like who the fuck you smashed, whether or not it's true or otherwise. Like, it's such a limp dick ass move. It's like, shut the fuck up. Like, you got the pussy, great. Like it's great that y'all hooked up. Shut the fuck up. Like, the last nigga that got away with like fucking bragging about his dick like that was Tupac, and that nigga dead. Like, who the fuck are you? Dababy? Like that is like, why does this nigga not want a career? Why does this nigga not want a career? He keep on fucking throwing more and more fire.
That's what I was gonna say. And then it's so funny because everybody was talking about, man, Dababy ain't been in headlines in a minute. And the baby he must have seen the baby must have seen that shit.
Hold my beer.
Cause he was like, exactly. Nigga was like, hold my beer. I got some more fuckboy shit I'm about to do.
Like, Ezra Miller, chill right quick. I got something to motherfucker say. The gang, yeah.
Hold on.
They trying to take my spotlight right now. I'm like, so limp.
Oh, Tory Lanez, you thought you was gonna knock out August Alsina, and I not have a goddamn input. Wait a minute, motherfucker.
I forgot all about
you was
this
fucking.
It's trash, man. It's trash.
Although, go ahead.
Can we treat this like a speed? Can we treat this like a speed bump and just and like move, like move on?
But
we definitely can, man. Because I didn't even want to talk about these two.
But I will say this. One thing after
you gonna bag up?
No. Like, after this whole thing, like after the shooting and everything came out, I do remember that like one of the first people it seemed like that still was trying to do business with this nigga was Dababy. And personally, I felt like that shit was like mad disrespectful given the fact that like you got all these songs with Meg, y'all supposed to have a good relationship, but you still breaking bread with this nigga knowing they got some beef. And I don't know, just this whole incident does kind of like make it seem as if like it makes more sense why, there was no loyalty. It's like this nigga just did that Dragon Ball Z move with this nigga and form the form of bitch nigga of the year. Like it's just it's kind of crazy.
That guy has done nothing since one of our first episodes where I talked about him at Rolling Loud. I still feel the same way now as I felt then. If you didn't see that episode, go back and watch that episode.
Most definitely.
Yeah, I think he just honestly grasping at straws, man. It seemed like he can't come out with another hot single, and this was just a ploy to try to get back and get some attention on him. So, and it backfired.
I think
he's
done a lot of controversial shit. I mean, outside of everything else that he's done, he worked with YoungBoy when nobody really wanted to work with YoungBoy with all of the stuff that was going on when YoungBoy was beefing with a lot of the people in the industry. Of course, he worked with Tory Lanez, alluding to what Alcee said, and then he comes out with this. It does look like he's reaching. His career is not where it was. And again, like I said, man, that album,
but that's his fault.
That album was trash. I'm gonna just be honest. It's the same. It's the same thing. And I saw somebody say something about
shit over and over.
I saw somebody say something about like, well, I mean, they're artists. Aren't they supposed to be able to put out? You know, how can you say they need to change their style up? But I'm like, you do have to change your style. You have to change. I'm not saying you have to change up how you rap, but you got to change up your scheme because that's how artists die out. When you talking about the same thing over and over and over and over again, it's like I already heard that. So why do I need to hear that again? Why do I need to buy the album? That was a wasted download for me. I'm gonna keep it.
Let's let this topic die out.
So moving on, before we get to the last topic, moving on to this topic right here. So of course, if you haven't been under a rock again, there's this new series out on Netflix called Dahmer, where they're talking about Jeffrey Dahmer and a lot of the things that he did in his past. It's a real good show. I'm only 2 episodes in. My guys have watched, I believe, the entire season. So y'all tell me, man, what y'all thought about what y'all saw. Like, did it bring back memories if you were that age and you saw this on the news, all types of stuff? Y'all tell me what y'all thought about that.
No, I haven't finished watching the whole whole thing, but I know the whole story. But it's one thing to know the whole story, but it's another thing to actually watch it actually in time. And some of the depraved things that it depicts, it's wild. But I think so far of the things that I've seen, being that I have experienced, in the mental health world, it's crazy that this is a classic case. When you look at him growing up as a kid, dealing with the trauma of what he dealt with in his house, with his mom and dad arguing and fighting and divorcing, and his mom, taking drugs and ODing and all that kind of stuff. And he's out there and he's seeing that stuff is traumatizing. And you never know, how many other individuals that are walking around with those same kind of trauma. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to go and perpetuate the level of things that he did, man. You never know the level of trauma that people have experienced that you walk in and get contact with every day.
I'm a big history fan, and I like, seeing a lot. I'm a big crime scene history fan, shall I say, because I was the same. I wanted to, like you said before we started the show, how you wanted to grow up and do law enforcement. I was the same. I wanted to be in law enforcement as well. So a lot of stuff like this intrigues me. But the one question I always have is, why is it that white people who commit crimes like this, the Ted Bundys, the Jeffrey Dahmers, all of these people, they get shows, they get all of this shit, but black people get murdered. Black people don't get no airfame. And most importantly, it's safe to say that the majority of black people that grew up in that time grew up in way worse single mother households, mothers strung out on crack, all types of shit like that. And you don't see them going out here chopping people up, eating them, and then getting a whole fucking series based around some shit that they did. That's where I have a big disconnect, and I think that's why I watch it so much, because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an interesting show, interesting story, but I have found myself having the same thoughts. I'm like, damn, why are we
it's almost like it is glorifying
this. But I'm like, why is this? Why are we watching stuff like this? Why is stuff like this, get attention? And it seems like it shouldn't.
It's kind of the exact same reason how he kind of got away with his crimes. Like he's white. I mean, a lot of people have, Even black people, a
Yeah.
lot of, even with black people understanding the treachery that some white people are capable of committing, not all, but some. I mean, the reality of the matter is that a lot of people say, "Oh, he looks so normal. He looks so, docile. How could he ever be like XYZ?" It's kind of like that's the reason why we're almost enticed by these kinds of stories because like they're so. It's crazy how not only does it go left, it goes extremely left. And I think that plays into
But
the legend of Jeffrey Dahmer. But I
see,
will.
the
Oh,
thing,
go ahead.
no, the thing about it though, man, is that it feeds in now to give some pushback on what y'all said though. Think about it this way, on this show we champion all the time mental health, all the time mental health. But if you watch this series, you see that mental health let him down. It totally let him down because nobody, so far all the red flags, all them red flags, and nobody did anything. Nobody said anything. So that's just, it's just another cautionary tale. In our communities, we are always told, "Hey man, suck that up." You know what I'm saying? Get better, get tougher. You ain't gotta. Don't cry or whatever. That we are always. It's inherent in us because we always say, "Hey, you got to be 2 times better than the next person to get to get the same level of this or the same level of that." So for many of our people, they couldn't afford to have mental health issues because they were so busy trying to struggle, trying to survive, trying to do certain things. Not saying it's right or it's wrong, but this is just another cautionary tale about when you don't pay attention to red flags in people that need help. Because you probably know or have seen people or seen kids, that act a certain, that's quiet, that's by themselves, that people picked on all the time. And like I said before, they might not go out and murder all these certain people, but look at all the school shootings. You know what I'm saying? That started from from some of these things, the red flags that nobody said anything.
But
They always looked it off and passed the buck. Nobody wanted to step up and say anything.
I think a part of it is also the time that it happened in. I mean, ignoring those red flags, I mean, we do live in a society that it ain't perfect, but like we do live in a society that's a lot more in tune with the concept of, just trying to find that mental stability. And maybe those psychotic tendencies that he had, maybe they wouldn't have been overlooked so much if he just lived in a time or in an area where like people would have taken his issues like seriously.
His parents, I don't know. His parents, well, maybe they would have been more in this time period. They would have been more involved in his life, but who knows? It just seemed like his parents were more consumed with themselves and what they had going on in their lives, and they really wasn't attentive to their son, and then his dad, finally was, tried to pick up something to do with him, but it was fucking dissecting roadkill, which is just like feeding into his damn psychotic ass tendencies, so that was just crazy. I think the biggest thing that stood out to me is just how oblivious the police
That's what I was going to
in
get
this
into.
whole situation. And, plays back into racism and how white people are just, they're allowed to get away with so much more than we are allowed to get away with. Even still now, to this day, they are allowed to get away with a lot more than we are, with the police.
He did pick, this isn't the glorified, watching the show, it's hard to watch the show because it feels like you're glorifying his actions, but he did pick the perfect victim, like, minority, I hate using the word minority, but ethnic gay people,
Yeah, I get that, but I'm just saying it does showcase still, even taking out, gay and black and, minorities and all that, it still shows like, even like when white people get pulled over by the police and they're allowed to cuss them out and, you know, say whatever they want to them. You know, I've heard it before. And if you're a black person, you can't. I mean, like, come on. We all know that if we 9 times out of 10, if we was to get pulled over and we was to get aggressive with a police officer, they're gonna 9 times out of 10 probably try to pull us out the car and maybe arrest us. You know,
if you try to start your killing spree, you might just get shot by the police before you.
You know what I'm saying?
But
So
the last thing I'll say about it though, one of the parts of the story that always just was so crazy to me is how you could do all that and have all those skulls and body parts and all that stuff for that long. I mean, I know people always complain. You know, Niecy Nash does a really good job in this series as playing the neighbor. You know, the neighbor next door, and they steady going to the vent, and you know she's smelling smells. But I've heard, because I've never smelled, I've never been around a dead body, but always said, you know, it's a totally different reek, a totally different smell, and to have that many bodies in your apartment, and nobody says anything. Everybody's just like, it just smells funny here. It smells really, 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 really funny.
But you gotta think about, like she said, she called the police over 1,000 times. She put in complaints.
Police officers went into
the police officers went in there. They smelled it and initially weren't going to do anything until the dude that he was about to kill that got away told them to search the apartment, and then they eventually searched it, and they were still finna let him slide. They was letting him move around the apartment until they opened up the damn drawer and they saw the pictures. So if they never would have opened up the drawer and saw the pictures, it's safe to say that they would have just left. And then, I mean, if you look back at the stuff that Niecy Nash was saying, I'm calling y'all, as you start to dive deeper into the episodes. I think I'm at like episode 3. But when you start diving deeper into the episode, she's like, I've called y'all 50 times, and they're brushing her off, kind of like we talked about in a couple episodes. Go watch it where we talked about the dispatcher that was rude, or Richard Sherman. The dispatcher was rude, like, hey, don't yell at me, don't cuss at me, or, you know, we're not going to come out and do anything. We said we're going to handle it. Just trust your local cops and think that we're going to handle it. It's almost like he picked again, like Alcee says, I hate to use this word, but he picked a minority popular area. He moved there and was killing minority homosexuals, and he knew that I'm gonna move over here. They ain't gonna come over here and look for nothing because the majority of people over here are black. Cops don't care about, for the most part, don't care about black people, didn't care about black people then, for sure, right? So he knew that they weren't gonna come, and if that dude, it's just crazy how everything works out the way it's supposed to work out, and unfortunate to the victims that, you know, this happened to, but if it wasn't for that brother getting away, flagging down those cops, it's safe to say that there would have been more victims after that. You know what I mean? So it's just crazy. All I'm gonna say is if we're gonna get a biopic on Jeffrey Dahmer, we need to get a biopic on Christopher Scarver. The motherfucker, more power to you, my brother. The motherfucker that beat that boy to death in jail. Your name is close to mine. We don't have any relation, all right? I don't like you, but I appreciate you for what you did, because it's fuck him to the depths, to the deep darkest depths, because he shouldn't have did what the fuck he did. But anyway, moving on.
I mean, I know it's a fucked up role to play, but I want to give a shout out to Evan Peters too, man. The dude is
he's a dope actor, man.
man.
He is.
I think he gets overlooked, but you know, he's a great actor. So shout out to him.
He plays
too,
the parts in that. Like if y'all don't know who he is, man, I tell you to go and watch every episode of American Horror Story. He's played so many different characters in American history that have done things like this, and he plays them to, you know, he dives into a deep dark part where he can do a phenomenal job. He even talked about how when he was called for this role and he took on this role, how he was scared to get into the mindset of that character. But I mean, just thinking about how he acts, man, he's a phenomenal actor. I give more powers to the brother. If he gets an Academy or whatever, he deserves it, because he is a great actor. Give him the flowers while they still here, for sure. But man, y'all know how we close this show out every week. Y'all give me the best thing that you have seen throughout this week.
I mean, we just talked about it. I gotta go with Dom. I mean, like I said, the guy did a really good. He did a really good job as playing Jeff. From his affect, like the way he was able to do it and make you actually feel like, hey, you're watching the dude in real time. Mm-hmm. And like I said, Niecy Nash did a superb job. So, hey, shout out to Netflix. Hey, y'all might be y'all might be losing customers, but hey, at least y'all still
Shit, I don't know. They've been on the road. They've been on the road lately, so
yep.
I got to give it to them. I was about to cancel their ass, I ain't gonna lie. But lately, I mean, they've been dropping hit after hit. So, hey, Netflix, if you're listening, if you're watching, good job.
Oh, I thought you were going to say write that check.
Yeah, that too. But the best thing that I've seen this week, I mean, you said Dahmer. That would have been mine. But I'm going to say me and my wife went to dinner in Blanc, which was a pretty dope experience. That. She was really big on it, and so it's definitely a very involved event. You got to get very prepared. You got to get your own table, your own chairs. You got to, if you're not going to pay for the meal, you got to prep your 3-course meal, and everything has to be all white. So, you got to wear all white. All your table has to be all white. It has to have a white cloth. Your chairs have to be all white. And so it's very involved, but it was very dope, and it was dope because I didn't know what to expect. I thought it was going to be this big, extravagant event with, a mixed crowd. And I thought it was going to be at, like, this area that was just, like, super glamorized and stuff like that. I was just expecting this big, over-the-top event. But it really wasn't like that. It was really a lot of more black people, more urban this time around. And so it was really dope to see all of us dressed up in white and, just socializing and be a positive event, you know what I'm saying? And it was a great experience. So you have to, it's invite only, so you can't go unless you get invited. But if you happen to get invited, man, I definitely tell you to go and experience it. It's really, really cool. The only problem was it got rained out. It started thunderstorming here in Memphis.
Oh, no, it's thunderstorming.
So that was bad, but we was able to pack up and get up out that thing before it started really, really going ham. But yeah, that's probably the best thing I've seen this week.
Well, coming back to Netflix because again, cut that check. My thing is actually show this. It's in its 3rd season or whatever. Cobra Kai. I'm definitely an 80s baby, and like I just really love the show. I mean I haven't finished it just yet, but like what I love about it is I love that if you watch like the Karate Kid movies, I like how they bring back the old characters, and make an interesting story out of like those, like the legend of Mr. Miyagi and Cobra Kai and all those things. It's just something I enjoy as somebody who just loves all things 80s. So that's my thing. Keep going, Netflix. Y'all can keep debiting my debit card.
And my baby coming out with a movie in October, so I'm gonna be front and center for that. Kelly Rowland, I'll be watching.
Well, I have to say, mine is kind of like a 2-part thing. One of the best things that I've seen all week was the latest episode of Games of Thrones. I don't know if anybody in here is a fan of Games of Thrones, but this spinoff that they got is very good. It's really diving deep, going back further than the previous Games of Thrones that was out. So I'm ready to catch this next episode. Gonna snuggle up with my baby and watch it, amongst other things. And then there's another show that we watching. Shout out to Netflix. Hey, Reezy, don't cancel your Netflix, brother. I appreciate leeching off of you. The most recent show, well, one of the most recent shows that's come out is Devil in Ohio, man. That's actually a good show. I don't know if y'all have seen it yet. It dives deep into this girl that was, kind of grew up in this cult almost, and her dad is the leader of the cult. And she somehow finds a way to escape, and she connects with another girl that grew up in a situation similar to that. And I think we're only on episode like 5 or something. It's a 10-part series, but we're only on episode 5. But I mean, so far so good. It's a good series. I saw a lot of people bashing it in the comments. I don't see why, because it dives deep into a lot of things, religious, not religious, that's going on in there. So if you have not seen it, don't cancel your Netflix subscription yet. I think that's the biggest thing that we all have kind of alluded to. Don't cancel your Netflix subscription yet. Keep your Netflix subscription, because they got a lot of good shows that's on there. You feel me? And like I said, man, Reese, don't cancel your shit yet, brother. Maybe I can.
Netflix, you owe us a check, man. We out here promoting hard for y'all.
Maybe y'all need to stop.
You definitely
stop dry snitching on yourselves. Y'all clearly you bootlegging, nigga. Like they both y'all had you dry snitching on yourself like a motherfucker. Like,
hey, look, man, man,
you don't know my real name.
You don't know my real name either.
Can't pinpoint who account.
All I'ma say is if you
go back
give
and
us
watch all
money,
the episodes.
please give Rob the majority of it so we can get his internet fixed, because that shit still whooped to sleep. But hey, we gonna close this episode out, man. I appreciate y'all for making it this far into the episode. As we always say, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share this video so your mama can see it, your auntie can see it, Nia Long can see it. We love you, precious queen. Ime Udoka can see it. Everybody. And until next time, if you did not feel us this time, I guarantee you gon' feel us the next. Now get your busted ass off my screen and get Rob some new internet, nigga! Out!
Hey, it's your boy Rob from the They Gon' Feel Me podcast. And if you want more authentic conversation from authentic men, check out this video.